Today, 5th November 2024, America decides who takes over the White House as the president-elect of the United States of America.
Will it be the Vice President of the United States of America, Kamala Harris, or the former President, Donald Trump? That's the big question.
Earlier this year, the sitting president, Joe Biden, was very confident of re-election until the unexpected happened.
President Joe Biden announced Sunday, July 21, 2024, he would not continue his bid for the re-election, saying it is in the best interest of the Democratic Party and the country to withdraw from the race, and he endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris to be the nominee. The decision came nearly a month after Mr. Biden's poor debate performance in June, which alarmed Democrats in Washington and sparked a discussion about whether he could be replaced on the Democratic ticket. Mr. Biden endorsed his Vice President Kamala Harris to be the nominee, and a number of top Democrats also quickly announced they had backed her nomination.
The next question was, will Kamala Harris be able to step up and claim victory for the Democrats?
On Sunday, July 21, 2024, the Biden-Harris campaign formally amended filings with the Federal Election Commission to rename its principal committee and declare Kamala Harris a candidate for president.
On behalf of everyone whose story could only be written in the greatest nation on earth, I accept your nomination to be President of the United States of America.
The move means that should she remain on the ticket for the general election, according to the Campaign Legal Center, Harris could assume control of the Biden-Harris campaign account, which had nearly $96 million cash in hand at the end of June. Vice President Kamala Harris' emergence as the frontrunner for the Democratic presidential nomination was a historic moment for the United States, as she seems poised to become the first black woman and Asian American to lead a major party ticket. Harris quickly garnered support from influential Democrats and raised a record $81 million within 24 hours of President Joe Biden's withdrawal from the presidential race. In 48 hours, Team Harris raised $126 million since the endorsement.
But most Americans can cast their vote for president before then if they want to.
Just like every year, some have done the early voting and others are doing the general voting today. So, let me ask, what goes into the American elections? Let me walk you through it.
The very first step, primaries and caucuses. There are many people who want to be president, each with their own ideas about how the government should work. People with similar ideas belong to the same political party. This is where primaries and caucuses come in. Candidates from each political party campaign through the country to win the favor of their party members. Beginning in February, the main voting event, primaries and caucuses, will lead to the selection of delegates who will represent the people at the upcoming conventions. The main focus will be on the results from Lower New Hampshire, Nevada, and South Carolina, which can easily determine who the final presidential nominee for each party will be. In a caucus, party members select the best candidate through a series of discussions and votes. In a primary, party members vote for the best candidates that will represent them in the general elections. Step 2. National conventions. Each party holds a national convention to select a final presidential nominee. State delegates from the primaries and caucuses selected to represent the people will now endorse their favorite candidates, and the final presidential nominee from each party will be officially announced at the end of the conventions. The presidential candidate also chooses a running mate, vice presidential candidate. The presidential candidate campaign throughout the country to win the support of the general population. Step 3. General election. Registered voters over 18 years in every state across the country vote for one president and vice president. When Americans go to the polls in November, they will select their favorite presidential candidate and their running mate. When people cast their vote, they are actually voting for a group of people called electors, except in the state of Maine and Nebraska. If a candidate receives the majority of the vote from the people of a state, then the candidate will receive all electoral votes vote of that state. The presidential nominee with the most electoral votes becomes the president of the United States. Step 4. Electoral College. The Electoral College is a process in which electors or representatives from each state in number proportional to the state's population cast their vote and determine who will be president. Each state gets a certain number of electors based on its representation in Congress. There are a total of 538 electors selected according to each state's policy. Each elector casts one vote following the general election, and the candidate who gets more than half wins. The newly elected president and vice president are inaugurated in January.
Just like many other countries, the celebrities have not been left out in the entire elections.
The 2024 U.S. presidential election is getting to the climax, and the group of Hollywood celebs who have thrown their support behind the major candidates, Kamala Harris for the Democrats and Donald Trump for the Republicans, are ramping up the 2024 election heat. Celebs like Zachary Levi, Kid Rock, Amber Rose, Hulk Hogan, etc. showed strong support for Trump, while stars including Beyonce, Cardi B, Eminem, Taylor Swift, George Clooney, Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, Lizzo rallied behind Harris. A study at the Harvard University also points toward the influence that celebrity voices have on voters. Campaigns that celebrities join result in a near-instant shift in the voters' registration and participation.
Just like Ghana, many of these celebrities have shown massive support for the two main political parties. But will that automatically ensure a win for these candidates? As the Americans go to the polls today, the big question again is, who takes over the White House in 2025? I am KMJ, reporting from the United States of America.